Goblins' lives splatter. Episode 2 of Goblin Slayer was pretty fantastic. As far as my personal experience goes, I'd say it's way better than episode 1. While episode 1 introduced us to the brutality of the world as well as the Goblin Slayer himself, episode 2 had some of the best early characterization of a character, to the point that I could say after only 2 episodes, I like Goblin Slayer. Not the show necessarily, the character. Since we're still in the introduction phase of the series, we don't know how the plot will progress, or if there will be any plot at all. But by the sheer fact that this manga is one of Best Guy Ever's favorites, I have a feeling that I will only be impressed. There seems to be this weird debate in the anime community that I don't really understand at all, to be 100% honest. In Goblin Slayer's regard, either you're loving it and you're awaiting future episodes, or you're not, and you not only hate it, but you think it shouldn't even exist, which is a whole new level of triggered cringe. I mean, if it would scare kids, then kids shouldn't watch it. And if it makes you feel uncomfortable, well, then you shouldn't watch it. The fact that I can't even begin to understand the mindset of hating it to that extent, it's kind of cringy. It's so cool though in a different way. When's the last time you heard of something popular that, no, it doesn't have a toxic fan base, it has toxic haters? That's like a whole new level of meta, and it goes to show just how wonderful of a place and wonderful of a community the facets of the anime community really is. Digibro makes a video why he doesn't like Goblin Slayer. I don't give a damn, you're not obligated to like the shows, even if I like them. It's the video saying why you're not allowed to like Goblin Slayer, and if you do, you're a bad person. Those just get under my skin a little. Now, there are dozens of Goblin Slayer videos that popped out right after it came out, and I came to the realization that none of them really analyzed anything about the show. The videos were basically, I don't like it because it's edgy, or response videos to those videos saying, just because it's edgy, it's not bad, that's a bad argument. That being said, this video will be an in-depth analysis on the philosophy and psychology of the Goblin Slayer himself, why I immediately loved him, and why I think a lot of people can end up relating to him. I know that I personally did in certain ways, and I have a feeling I will only grow to relate to him more. So I'm sorry if anyone's triggered by the mere fact alone that I was making this video. I did not notice because I was too busy not giving a flying rat's ass. Now, since it's annoying that you never know if I'm referring to the Goblin Slayer character or the Goblin Slayer series when I say the words Goblin Slayer, henceforth, when I say Goblin Slayer, it's the show, and I will be calling the Goblin Slayer character Gobi, you know? Like, Gobi the house elf! What on earth possessed me to think about it like that? Anyway, this will be a psychological analysis of Gobi. I should have picked a name like Steve. This is even worse. So I think he likes killing goblins. I don't know, that's just the vibe that I'm getting from the show. And before we get into the meat and potatoes why I already love Gobi's character so much, we must first have things exactly clear as to the human versus goblin perspective of the world. The goblins kidnap human women, rape them, torture them, kill them, all 3 of which are, well, relatively not good things and definitely does not enhance their society to top 5 best anime worlds to take a vacation in. Therefore, from the human perspective, they must commit xenocide and massacre every last one of those little horny, piss-attracted, conniving bastards. And time is of the essence, because they breed faster than freaking Joestars. They should die. Now, from the goblins' perspective, though, they are the lowest rung on the food chain. They're the weakest sentient species in their world, and that said, they aren't even trying to obtain any form of power they can't. They attempt to protect themselves from the humans that constantly rightfully seek their eradication and extermination, and if you notice, there ain't no female goblins. My assumption is their only method of procreation is via the unspeakably horrible action of raping human women. Something, as we've established already, from the human perspective, very bad. But it's not like the goblins have any other choice in how to lead their lives. But of course, let's remember that's the goblins' perspective. From a human perspective, sorry goblies, time to die. I saw a YouTuber call people that like Goblin Slayer hypocrites, because the villains, which is a terribly inaccurate term here, are two-dimensional and make the SAO villains look good. That YouTuber did not understand the level of garbage being spewed. And this dynamic of obviously clashing integral philosophies is what makes me appreciate the sad world of Goblin Slayer. No one can be happy. It's genetically impossible for the humans and goblins to coexist peacefully. And that said, it's not like the goblins just run on instincts. Now, the fact that the goblins are the weakest of monsters is one of the reasons why I love Goblin Slayer and why I love Gobi. There are 2 archetypes of main characters that I need to define. There's the main character of the narrative's world, and then there's the main character of the narrative's perspective. As an example of the former, he got the vast majority of Battle Shonen. Naruto is the main character of our perspective, but in eventuality, he becomes the world's main character as well. He's the hero and the savior of everyone. He's the main character of the world, and the world he inhabited needed him. Whereas Gobi is doing the scut work and is the pivotal character in the story. By no means is he the pivotal character to the world, necessarily. He's just one guy doing his one thing in this big world, while the other really high-class adventures are fighting dragons and whatever. And the fascinating details that plays off of that is he does not want to be a hero either. It's an interesting concept for an adventurer character, because in all honesty, that's largely the appeal of the entire genre. Crafting your own legend, taking the new tough and glorious quests, and Gobby wants none of that. In fact, it's much to the contrary. He'll only take goblin hunting, and just like he's an anomaly in this entire adventurer genre, he's an anomaly in his own world. All of the nameless side adventurers act exactly how your average adventurer should actually act. They're worried about crafting their own legends with tremendous feats and power. They don't act like the usual gaggle of NPC characters cluttering our favorite shows. They act like every real-life human being's avatar in any RPG or in any D&D game. Speaking of D&D for a moment, I've seen a lot of people in the community comparing the Goblin Slayer anime to a D&D game being played out. And I've also seen Digibro's response to that saying, D&D games are not meant for one person to come up with the narrative. The whole point is the social interaction and whatever. And quite frankly, I think you're both wrong. See, if the story would be following any of these side characters looking to make a name for themselves, I'd say this was like a D&D show, and I would also say it was not a very good show. Now, by the fact that you're following a far less significant character, this is more of a deconstruction of the D&D archetype than a D&D game itself. When you're a high enough level, you're not gonna bother yourself with the lame, stupid, boring quest. Your sights are solely set on growth, and so is every side character. But now, since this is no D&D campaign, and because this is no RPG, but a narrative, that doesn't exactly work. Because when you're taking the higher class missions because you are a stronger knight now in whatever the hell you're playing, who's still doing the lowly missions? Who's taking care of the annoying slime that's eating the wheat fields of Plum Bottom Village? And this is the anime that kinda answers that question. Goblin Slayer runs on a society where older adventurers move on to more exciting quests and new young ones are stuck struggling against the low-level goblin hunting adventures. And I use the word struggling rather lightly. And to be honest, I kinda see a metaphor to capitalism in there as well, because while capitalism is wonderful and great, and hey, let's outsource all of this work into other countries that they could do it so we could do better. But then at the same time, you're forgetting about all those people that now do not have jobs because all that work was outsourced. I'm not here to bash capitalism, okay? But nothing's perfect, that's life. Goblin Slayer noticed, and you're outsourcing the big missions to the big guys and the big names, and the little missions, with the goblins ravaging the villages on the edge of society, kinda sucks for those people that live on the edge of society, even though national-wide, oh, it's worth it sending them to kill dragons. So here's where we get a little bit into the anomalous actions, yet potentially righteous actions, of Gobby. Episode 2 made me fall in love with Gobby's character more than Episode 1 made me want to see the little goblin suffer. Imagine a person driven to the brink of hatred to the point that he's leading his life in a way that would creep out freaking Sasuke. His hatred toward the species drove him to the point of near insanity as his obsession began to take over his life. Yes, there are some plot inconsistencies like, oh, he checks for footprints and broken fences every single day. He won't give them any leeway, not even for one day. That's pretty specified. 10 minutes later in the episode, oh, Goblin Slayer guy hasn't come back for over 3 days. But Gobby's always trying a new goblin filleting technique, and killing goblins is the only thing at this point to really bring him joy. And his priorities are more than clear in that sense. When he took a quest, much to everyone's surprise granted, to kill goblins, Priestess Girly said, hey, we should follow those 3 noobs that went to fight goblins alone and will probably end up triggering SJWs, if you know what I mean. And Gobby paid no heed to her words and proceeded to a larger goblin nest that he'd rather take on. Because at this point, he is not killing goblins to protect humanity as much as he's killing goblins to kill goblins. Massacring the baby Namekians, which was originally the means to where protecting human girls was the end, became warped into where massacring the baby Namekians was the end goal. And that's why I find the psychology of his character so damn fascinating. And that's why he's my favorite anime main character of the year after Giorno. And that's after only 2 measly episodes. Everything he does has a dual interpretation. There's the superficial action he's taking, i.e. Gobby taking the lowly esteemed goblin extermination missions, where despite the world insulting him and jeering at him, he will work tirelessly with no prestige to wipe out as many goblins as he possibly can. Here are the 2 interpretations. Firstly, he'll be the Dark Knight. He'll forfeit fame and reputation, he'll do the necessary dirty work of the world, and he will take out a threat to peaceful life. He'll sacrifice his pride for a goal that truly matters, for a cause that society obviously obviously has not found a solution to. This is the commonly understood approach. As we can see, the token quest giver outer bimbo admires that selfless part of Gobi, and it's intended to be seen in that fashion as well, at least to an extent, by the viewers. Now look at Chibi Review's take on the matter, titling his video, "Sometimes we must do jobs that everyone hates," focusing on the selfless nature of Gobi. And while that's part of the picture, absolutely, and Gobi definitely does have that aspect to himself, as time goes on, I believe the second interpretation of his actions is becoming more and more psychologically prevalent. Something that spouted from revenge and selfless thought that slowly evolved into what stands before us. Gobi's obsessed, and he derives joy from killing goblins. He says it himself in this very episode, and that's how he finds meaning in his existence. Killing goblins literally became his identity, adorning the name Goblin Slayer as his own, and I've heard people say that an actual name for him was not revealed even in the manga. His actions are all righteous, but his reasoning to commit these actions may not necessarily be 100% selflessness. Now, that's not necessarily bad. In fact, it's an all too common phenomenon in real life as well. Losing sight of the why behind the what. And I'll give you an example of it from my own life, and I'm sure every YouTuber ever can kind of relate. Obviously, it will not be to the degree of Gobi, thankfully, but then again, neither is capitalism and goblin slaying. But there was a point in the beginning of my YouTube career that I was plagued by this mentality. Now, before starting, obviously anime was my favorite pastime, and I started YouTube because I was so passionate about talking about my mindset in anime's regard. And initially, without realizing it, I kind of stopped enjoying anime for a little period of time. I'd complete almost every new seasonal show because I felt like I had to. I considered it hours of work to weekly sit through all the seasonal anime and download them into my brain watching them at 4 times speed. I mean, again, it's not a comparison to Gobi watching his sister get raped and killed in front of his eyes. That's worse. I agree. But at that point, I became obsessed with knowing all the anime rather than enjoying them. Yeah, this was a while ago, but I've seen almost every anime in like 2015 as one example. And it was the same thing with finding plot holes. I ruined my own favorite thing to try to critique it right. So I can kind of see the psychology of Gobi through personal experiences, and I think most people have experienced something along these lines as well. Maybe through the story, we will see him also open his heart to others and find a place to belong. Just like now, I'm having the time of my life as far as YouTube goes. I wholeheartedly, openly love every episode of Fairy Tail because in all honesty, it does not matter. And on the contrary, any garbage piece of art that you derive pleasure from is just a positive experience. Wouldn't you rather enjoy garbage than hate it but have to watch it because other people are watching it and you have to prove away why it sucks? I know just praising Fairy Tail without immediately adding the disclaimer, it has an 80% chance of giving you brain cancer. Yeah, that's dangerous for a YouTube channel, but that's exactly the point I'm trying to make. It's the original end goal of becoming a YouTuber, to do the things you love and speak your heart and share with other people. That's the only reason anyone should start YouTube altogether. But then you realize your channel will be far better off under the guise of lies, despite your content being air quotes quality content. It's a path that literally every YouTuber relates to one another, and it's a path that leads to ultimate self-destruction. As does any obsession, in all honesty, where the positive action remains the same, yet the psychological action disintegrates. As a YouTuber, to use as a perfect example of this, you know Sky does Minecraft. He's this one dude that, well, plays Minecraft. Well, come New Year's, he's deleting his channel. He's been playing Minecraft for 7.5 freaking years. Yeah, this guy does not enjoy Minecraft, and in his latest video, he says that he's basically only been playing Minecraft for the last 3 years, purely for the money. He's been hating it, and I'm not saying this to, exposed, called out, piece of trash. I mean, I kind of get where he's coming from, as do all of us. But that's why someone like PewDiePie is a YouTuber I look up to immensely. He did video games, he wanted to do something else, and he started doing something else. You gotta be true to yourself, and you gotta be aware of that end goal, where the means should not become the new end goal. I believe that will be the mental journey of Gobi, and that's my take on the psychological state of Gobi, a character who's losing his humanity to his obsession. Granted, his obsession is saving many lives, and he's doing the dirty work that no one else is willing to do, but it's at the cost of himself, and he isn't even aware of it yet. And that is where I believe I will leave off the video, the only YouTube video on Goblin Slayer that's not discussing if it's good, if it's bad, or Giguk's video, which was great actually. It was actually really amazing. Congrats, Giguk, you beat me on this round in satire. Your satire video was absolutely better than mine, but I'm proud to announce this to be pretty much YouTube's first video discussing the actual anime, as opposed to if it's good, bad, or if you should feel bad if you think it's good. If you like in-depth analyses, feel free to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and if you like this video, please leave a like. I would love to hear your opinion in the comments on the Goblin Slayer character. No offense, but I don't really want to see your comments if, yeah, this show is objectively bad, or this show is objectively good, whoever says it's bad is a sourpuss. No offense, don't really want to see that. I'd rather have some memes. Memes are lifeblood of the fan base, it seems, and I love that. Also, link in the description to my Twitter, feel free to follow me there. To my merch, feel free to grab some of that shiz, which is pretty much the most effective way to support the channel at this point because, well, you know. And link also is to my Patreon. All patrons are invited to the Discord server where we do things like make fun of Alan Weebus. If you don't know who Alan Weebus is, oh, trust me, $1 to the Patreon is worth it to meet the guy. He's in a special kind of category where everyone that relates to him in any way is a tsundere because we all constantly make fun of him and make believe we hate him, but we all low-key like him. And also, thank you, Alan Weebus, for donating $10 on Patreon, so now I get to shout you out in all my videos. Link to Alan Weebus' channel is actually in the description. He makes funny shiz, and he takes the edge out of edgy, which leaves you just why? Like, why is he making this video? That kind of thing. Anyway, special thanks to King Beat My Meat, Sage of Snake, Pop-Up, Grumpy Welshman, Lazy Ronan, Girthy Worm Jim, Allison Stricker, JD Fincher, Laser Sash, Ethan Price, Friskidingo, Soy Boy Theories, who's also a beast, MDQ, Praise Lord to Gilgamesh, Billy Thompson, Abigail Norton, Salve Says, Gremlin, Sergeant Malarkey, Divine Reigns, Miku, and TMFilly, who is editing this video. Feel free to say something edgy. TMFilly, you have complete power here. Also, thanks to the Lord Tweegers, praising the rightful king, Anthony Booth, Cream My Pancake, Emir Zekic, Rari, Necro, Zindergarten, Cortland Ewing, Zombie Misha, and Teakui. But of course, let's not forget the God Usopp rank, because right now One Piece is amazing. By the way, everyone should be reading the manga. Tyler Schumacher, Dark Elemento, Sonny Parks, and Maurice Luis Dreyfus. Once again, thank you all so much for pledging, and thank you all so much for watching. I'm looking forward to feedback on this video, because I really don't know what to expect. I haven't seen any Goblin Slayer videos with actually all good feedback. Basically, someone's always unhappy, which is why society is so damn good. But remember, fam, don't get caught up in the means. It's never gonna end up good for you in the long run. And with that said, remember to stay weird, fam.
Caution. A virus has been detected.